Picture a butterfly, wings out, coming in to land on a leaf.
Right.
It hasn't smelled anything yet. It hasn't touched the leaf with its mouth. But the absolute second its foot makes contact, it already knows everything. Sweet or bitter, poison or safe, the exact right plant, or just a completely useless one. Because, and this is wild, butterflies do not taste with their mouths first. They taste with their feet.
It fundamentally changes how you look at them, doesn't it? I mean, every single step a butterfly takes is, from a biological standpoint, essentially a lick.
It is one of the most bizarre, mind-bending pieces of evolutionary biology we've ever come across. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
So our mission today is to completely deconstruct this biological adaptation. We're going to look under the hood of a creature that wanders the world, taste testing the environment with its toes.
Which is actually a heavier lift for us than it's Yeah, because we have this deep-seated habit of mapping mammalian anatomy onto insects. You know, we look at a head and we naturally assume the mouth is for tasting, the nose is for smelling. We centralize everything right around the face.
Right, because that's how we work.
Exactly. It's really hard for us to unlearn that baseline assumption. So our goal today is to ask you to just, strip away that human anatomical bias entirely. We need to view the world through a completely different, decentralized sensory lens.
Okay, let's unpack this anatomical reality. Because to understand why they taste with their feet, we actually have to look at the limitations of the mouths. We all know they have that little curly straw thing, the proboscis.
Yeah, the classic cartoon party favor.
Exactly. But we have a terrible habit of viewing that straw like it's a mammalian tongue.
Right, which it's absolutely not. The proboscis is strictly a pneumatic fluid transfer tube.
So it's literally just a straw.
It's the straw. The chemoreceptors that we would normally associate with the tongue, they've been entirely relocated. The proboscis itself has exactly one job, and that is drinking. It cannot taste.
That is so crazy to me. It has no idea what it's drinking.
None. It has no idea if it's slurping up highly nutritious nectar or the toxic alkaloid that will immediately kill it.
Wow. So because that tube is basically flying blind, the tasting mechanism had to be pushed down to the point of first contact.
Exactly.
And if we zoom way, way in on a butterfly's feet, the tarsi, we find that they are covered in these microscopic hollow structures. They look like tiny hairs, but they're actually these incredibly complex sensory organs.
Yeah, that's insilla. And inside every single one of those hollow hairs is a cluster of neurons, taste receptors, basically.
They are essentially tiny chemical switches. So when a butterfly lands, molecules from the plant enter a microscopic pore on the hair. If a molecule of sugar hits the pore, it binds to a specific receptor, and the moment that happens, boom, an electrical charge fires.
But the crucial part of that electrical charge is where it goes, or actually where it doesn't go.
Right.
It does not send a signal up to the butterfly's central brain to say, hey, we found sugar, should we eat?
No time for that.
Exactly, no time. It is a pure, hardwired reflex. It bypasses the brain entirely. The signal goes straight to a local nerve cluster in the chest, which instantly triggers a hydraulic response.
It pumps insect blood into the proboscis, and the pressure just forces the coiled tube to unfurl. Zero thinking required.
Zero.
We've actually known about this reflex since the 1920s. A scientist literally took a tiny paintbrush, dipped it in apple juice, and just touched a butterfly's leg. And the straw popped out.
People thought he was joking at first.
I would too, but he did it over and over. So it's basically like walking through an automatic sliding door. The foot is the motion sensor and the mouth is the door. The door doesn't decide to open, the foot just triggers it.
What's fascinating here is the sheer evolutionary efficiency of that system.
Oh, totally.
Decoupling the tasting from the eating and completely removing the brain from the loop, it saves a massive amount of metabolic energy.
Because brain power is expensive.
Very expensive. If you're a tiny insect and you had to consciously evaluate every single surface you landed on, you'd waste so much time. By offloading that to a reflex in the feet, the butterfly streamlines its entire existence.
Wait, hold on. I need to push back on this pure reflex thing for a second.
Okay, go for it.
If the central brain isn't involved and it's just this automatic tripwire, how do they not just eat until they explode? Like, if a butterfly steps in a giant puddle of nectar, does the mouth just stay deployed forever until the foot physically leaves the puddle?
That is a great question, and it's exactly why biological systems need override switches. You're right, if it was just a tripwire, they would literally burst.
Right.
So what happens is sensory adaptation. Those taste neurons in the feet fire super fast when they first hit the sugar. But as they keep standing there, the firing rate slows down. They get used to it.
Oh, I see.
And at the same time, the butterfly has stretch receptors inside its gut. Once the stomach is full, the gut sends an override signal that shuts down the reflex. The pressure drops, and the straw coils back up.
Okay, that makes so much more sense. It's an automatic reflex, but it has safety limits.
Exactly.
And it has to be highly calibrated because, man, we need to talk about the sheer scale of this sensitivity.
Yeah.
When you read the actual numbers on how well these feet can taste, it feels like a typo.
It really does.
Scientists estimate that a butterfly's foot is around 200 times more sensitive to sweetness than a human tongue.
200 times. I mean, it is a level of chemical detection that our brains literally cannot comprehend.
Let's try to make that real for you for a second. Imagine you have a glass of water and you stir a single spoonful of sugar into it. You take a sip, you taste the sugar, obviously.
Right.
Now imagine taking that exact same spoonful of sugar, but you divide it evenly across 200 glasses of water.
Just a microscopic pinch in each one.
Exactly. If you drank one of those 200 glasses, your tongue wouldn't register a thing. It would just taste like plain tap water.
Totally flat.
But a butterfly's foot, if it even grazed the rim of that glass, it would detect the trace sugar molecules instantly. The drawbridge would drop.
And they aren't just tasting sugar either. They have specific receptors for sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. They're basically running a highly sophisticated full-spectrum chemical analysis in the millisecond it takes to stand on a leaf.
Which gives them this massive advantage over other bugs. Like, think about a bee. A bee lands on a flower and has to actively dig around, stick its tongue in, and physically sample the nectar to see if it's any good.
Takes a lot of effort.
Right. But a butterfly just lands. In one single footstep, the analysis is done. Safe or not, sweet or not, one step and done. But wait, if they are that sensitive, isn't the world just a chaotic, overwhelming explosion of flavor for them with every step?
You'd think so, right?
Yeah. If I could taste the microscopic residue of everything I stepped on, I would get massive sensory overload. How do they not just short circuit?
Well, it comes down to how their nervous system acts as a filter. They aren't experiencing a blended flavor profile the way we do when we eat a meal.
Okay.
We process taste holistically in our brains. For the butterfly, the filtering happens right there in the foot. The receptors are highly specific lock and key mechanisms. If a chemical doesn't fit the lock exactly, the neuron simply does not fire.
Oh, wow.
So it's not that they're tasting a million things at once, it's that they are completely blind to all the background noise, and they're only perfectly tuned to the specific triggers that matter for their survival.
So they are walking through the world totally numb to anything that isn't biologically relevant.
Exactly. That extreme targeted sensitivity is what makes the one-step full report thing possible. They don't have to rub their feet all over a leaf to get a reading.
And they absolutely need that immediate data because, this biological hardware isn't just about finding a quick sugar rush.
Not at all.
Tasting sugar is just the baseline. This superpower actually has a much darker, much higher stakes application.
Yeah, finding food keeps the adult butterfly alive for a couple of weeks. But the real reason this extreme foot tasting evolved is a matter of absolute life and death for the entire species.
We're moving from snacks to the nursery.
Exactly. Female butterflies use their feet to find the exact right plant to lay their eggs on, because baby caterpillars are the most unbelievably picky eaters on the planet.
Oh, it's insane. If the mother gets it wrong and lays her eggs on a similar-looking but incorrect leaf, the babies don't just get an upset stomach, they literally starve to death.
The biological dependency is so fragile, so before she lays a single egg, the mother has to positively identify the host plant, and she does this frantic little tapping dance with her feet.
It seriously looks like she's doing a tiny drum solo on the leaf.
It does. She's actively scratching the surface of the leaf just enough to release microscopic plant juices for her feet to read.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the monarch butterfly. Famous, orange and black, everyone knows them. A monarch mother will only lay her eggs on one specific plant, milkweed.
Right?
Imagine a massive meadow, thousands of identical-looking green plants. She has to find the milkweed. She drops down, drums her feet, reads the chemicals, and moves on if it's wrong. But she isn't hunting for milkweed because it's nutritious.
No, she is hunting for it because it's poisonous.
Yes, the toxic twist. Milkweed produces these intense defensive chemicals. They're basically a heart poison. If a bird or a mouse eats it, it violently disrupts their heart function. Almost nothing in nature wants to touch this stuff.
But the monarch mother is actively using her feet to hunt for this specific poison.
Mm.
She wants her babies to eat it.
It's so wild.
Because monarch caterpillars have evolved to be immune to it. They eat the poison, store it in their own bodies, and become completely toxic and untouchable to predators.
So the mother is literally out there scratching a lottery ticket with her toes. But if she doesn't hit the jackpot, which is a deadly cardiac poison, her lineage ends.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it just highlights how precise evolutionary mechanics are. The foot isn't just finding food. It is securing a chemical weapon for the next generation.
Which is mind-blowing.
The entire survival of the monarch species hinges on a microscopic nerve inside a tiny hair on a foot, correctly identifying a deadly poison. The precision is staggering.
Staggering. Wrong plant, the kids starve or get eaten by birds. Right plant, identified by a toe tap, and the kids become invincible. It completely reframes how you look at a butterfly in a garden. They aren't just drifting around on a breeze.
No, the females are running a highly specific, high-stakes chemical reconnaissance mission. Every touchdown is a complex chemical assay.
Okay, well, speaking of touchdowns, we need to do a little reality check here.
Oh,
Yeah, because we've been talking about the majesty of the meadow and chemical warfare and survival, but we have to bring this back down to earth. Specifically, back to your backyard picnic table.
We're about to ruin some summer barbecues, aren't we?
Oh, we definitely are, because every single time you have ever seen a butterfly land on a slice of watermelon at a picnic or a peach left on a plate, it has already judged your food before its mouth ever uncurls.
Yep. The foot acts as a metal detector. Foot down, beep, it's sweet, the straw comes out, no hesitation.
So technically, a butterfly is like an arrogant food critic who walks straight across your dinner plate in muddy shoes, writes a full review of the meal based on what their sneakers touched, and only then decides whether to take a bite.
That is a highly accurate and slightly disgusting analogy. And this leads us to the twist that totally shatters the pretty illusion we have of butterflies.
Oh, the crow's twist.
Because they are not the only insects that have this superpower. Houseflies do the exact same thing.
The flies on your potato salad.
Yes. The flies buzzing around your kitchen. They're using the exact same biological shortcut. Their feet are covered in the same tiny hollow hairs with the same taste receptors.
So that fly that landed on your barbecue sandwich for exactly 2 seconds before you swatted it away, it didn't need to bite it. It already taste tested your food with its feet while just standing there.
Same superpower as the pretty butterfly. Just a way grosser reputation. It's funny how our aesthetic bias colors our view of nature.
Totally. We see a butterfly on our fruit and we're like, oh, how magical. But we see a fly on our sandwich and we're violently repulsed.
Even though mechanically they're executing the exact same sequence, they're both standing on your food, analyzing it with their toes.
It ruins the magic.
Yeah.
But from an evolutionary standpoint, why did they both evolve this? Why do flies and butterflies both taste with their feet?
Because evolution favors the path of least resistance. If you are a tiny insect landing on hundreds of surfaces a day, using a mount every single time is just too slow. It requires too much commitment and it leaves you vulnerable to predators.
Right, you can't just stop and lick everything.
Exactly. Putting the taste detectors on your forelegs is the ultimate biological shortcut. You get instant environmental sampling without even breaking stride.
So butterflies just happen to package this shortcut beautifully while flies execute it while looking like fuzzy little garbage disposals.
Pretty much.
So next time you are sitting outside and you see a butterfly bouncing from flower to flower, looking all delicate, I want you to remember the complex biology operating under the hood. You shouldn't see it as a delicate creature wandering aimlessly. You should see it as a highly tuned chemical sensor, licking its way through the world with every footstep.
This raises an important question, though.
Yeah.
If a creature as common as a butterfly is navigating this incredibly complex, high-stakes chemical map of the world entirely through the soles of its feet, a map completely invisible to us, what other unseen, unheard, or unfelt realities are the animals in our own backyards experiencing right now, while we remain completely oblivious?
And what happens when we mess with those maps, right? Like with pesticides or smog, we could be blinding them without even knowing it.
Exactly. We are erasing their world without even seeing it first.
Man, that changes everything about how you look at a simple garden. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Next time you step outside, take a look at the grass, the leaves, the picnic table, and just picture that mother butterfly drifting over a meadow of identical leaves, tapping her feet, trying to find that one right leaf out of thousands, and leaving a single egg behind. We'll catch you next time.